I think he had plans to use it for something else, but there's nothing attached to it, so we'd climb up it with his gear, and so like that was just normal for me. So doing something like that, I mean, I could probably use his gear that he had in the '90s, and it'd still be just fine.
Yeah. Well, it's just like some
Minus
of
the
the
spiked shoes sticking into all the trees that are living.
yeah. What do they call them? Tree
I wouldn't do
spurs.
that. Yeah, I
Yeah.
wouldn't do that.
Well, that's one like I like the idea of it. If you're just trying to look at how can I get up that tree like as efficiently as possible, like absolutely makes sense. But yeah, you're kind of tearing up all the trees. It's illegal to use them on public anyway for that
Yeah,
reason. Um, but I think the thing with a lot of the saddles, and this seems to happen a lot in the hunting industry, is there's some existing idea that's been around for a long time and something else. And then somebody's like, oh, I'm going to call this a hunting product. Sometimes they get a
yeah,
patent on it. Occasionally it's a utility patent. Usually it's a design patent, which, if you know anything about patents, a design patent doesn't really mean much at all. A utility
yeah,
patent means like you invented the way something works. A design patent is just like it's almost like a copyright. You know, you can have two songs that sound both similar and have similar stories, but they're not the same song
yep.
versus like it's
I
function
just need to
versus
throw
form.
I just need to throw off my camo pattern just a little bit, and then I can rip somebody else's off.
Yeah, so there's a lot of stuff that pops up in like the hunting and outdoors market that's an idea that's been around and it's good. I mean, all innovation, we all, we're all standing on the shoulders of the guy before us. But I don't know, sometimes in the hunting market, it's almost there's a little bit of like arrogance to it. Like, look how clever I am that I found this like new way to climb a
Yeah,
tree. Like,
yeah.
really? Like,
No, not
is that really a
not
new
new.
idea?
No,
Yeah.
it's just all. It's just gained a lot of popularity in the last few years because, I mean, in the hunting world, it's I would say a not new idea. People have been doing it since probably since arborists have started using those saddles. I'm sure somebody was using them, as
It
soon as
probably
they were
is
invented.
as simple as like as the first time somebody started calling it a tree saddle and
Yeah.
like gave it a name and defined it. Then people are like, "Oh yeah, now we can categorically talk about this
Yes,
and hype it up."
exactly. Yeah. And and when people started like showing its versatility, or when you change just like a few minor things to just like how you do it, like your footing and things like that. It's like, oh, we did make better footing for it. So now it's actually much more versatile than it was back in the 80s when you were like sticking a cleat in and trying to like cleat yourself away around a tree while you're
Yeah.
hunting a deer. It's like, no, I'm telling you, I've cle you cleats get up a tree and it's or up a pole and it's not quiet, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
And you're not stealthy at all. Like, and it's not that comfortable to shimmy around with those because you're popping up and pop your foot back in and it's that whole shuffle is just really awkward.
Yeah. My
So,
concern with tree saddles is excuse me. My concern with tree saddles is not that I couldn't use it or that I'd be afraid of, kicking out and that the heights would bother me or anything like that. I don't think that would phase me. I think it's my ability to sit still. I used to be super fidgety, and over the last few years, I've really improved my ability. I think honestly, it's been since I've been bow hunting. Like, if you're
yeah,
sitting in a pop up blind with a rifle, there's a lot you can get away with. Like, let's be
yeah,
honest. Like, you don't have to be perfectly still. You have to be more still than not. But
yeah,
when you're trying to shoot a deer at 100 yards versus when you're trying to get something within like 20 or 30,
yeah.
big difference. And so I've
Huge
gotten a
difference.
lot better about, literally turn my eyes before I turn my head. Like, think about my movements. But when I'm so exposed in a tree saddle, that's when I'm nervous that I would screw it all up. That I'm in this swinging platform that can move a lot more, and that I'm just not going to be as good about being stealthy and being still. And maybe
Yeah.
I just need to try it before I can really make that assertion. I don't know, but that's what I'm worried about.
I'm just gonna climb like 40 or 50 feet up in the tree, and then the deer just won't see me, and I'll be totally good. You know, I can move
Well,
around that tree all I want.
I guess if you're hunting in Ohio or Pennsylvania, if you're one of those guys,
And
just
make
go
sure
to
I
the
have my
top.
rifle up there so I can actually be in range of a deer.
Yeah, if you're climbing post oaks in North Texas, I mean, good luck getting more than
Oh
15
gosh,
most of the time.
you can't climb any trees down here.
Yeah, they get
It's ridiculous.
pretty scraggly and pretty wild pretty quick. I
You,
mean,
you can
every
find
once in a while you'll find like a good elm tree that's like you're like that's the best climbing tree, but then you climb up to the top of that and you're like there's no deer here.
there's no deer around.
This isn't a
Exactly.
good spot.
They're all sitting around these nasty, gnarly oaks.
Yeah.
That's where the deer are walking through.
Yep.
And it's like they know. They're like, well, these aren't trees that people can put stands in. Let's hang out under these ones. Like, people can't hide around here. I'm going to eat my acorns here.
Dude,
There's acorns everywhere.
and North Texas compared to South and West Texas, the scraggly oaks, them's the good ones.
Yeah, I bet.
You
Yep.
go out west and you're like, okay, mesquites. Then you go
Yes.
further south and you're like, slash cedars. Like,
Yeah.
what are you gonna do with that? Forget it. You can't even put a ladder stand on one of those things.
Yeah. That's why they sell the tripod stands if you want to get up
And they're
above your head.
perfect for that. They are perfect
Exactly.
for that.
That's what they're for.
Yeah.
They probably developed them around here because of that situation.
I was tempted to
no
make
trees.
a ground blind out of stacked rocks. Because the
That
place I
matters.
hunt down south, it's like, so if you imagine like the surface of the moon, but with a bunch of cedar trees and really scraggly live oaks. That's what it looks like. Just so
Nice.
rocky. And
Yeah.
I was considering that, and then I'm like, nah.
You can make
That's
like
a
a
lot.
rock igloo.
Yeah, pretty much. A rock loo. Just sitting here hunting in my rock igloo, sweating my butt off,
Yeah.
wondering what those Eskimos are thinking right now.
So was it hot last weekend?
So the low was 54.
Oh, nice.
The high was 91.
Oh, there you
Because,
go. Hello,
you know,
hello desert.
about a 40-degree swing. That's
Yep.
just how it goes sometimes.
Yes, it is. At least
Yep.
it was dry. It sounds like.
Yeah, it was.
If you have a
It
50-degree swing, it's got to be pretty dry.
Yeah. They
Nice.
did not get any of the storms we had up here.
Yeah.
Well, other gear that we've kind of experimented with this season. So we already talked about our tree stands. We talked about the tacks and flagging tape. T-post step. That was
Yes,
one.
please.
I found a deal on Camo Fire, and then I was just like, hey, Kyle, this could be cool. I've ripped up a lot of pants. Maybe
Yep.
this can prevent that, and I can not tear up my pants. Maybe this is totally a hokey, gimmicky thing. Let's just try it. And you're like, okay,
Yep.
I'm in. And so we got it. I was worried that it was just going to be like this big brick that, like, yeah, it does kind of work, but it's not worth carrying in the woods. I was pleasantly surprised at how well that thing worked.
Yes, I agree. I am all in. It's not worth $100, but it's worth the few dollars that you spent.
Yeah, well, what did we each end up paying for it? Like 12 or something?
I don't know. Did I pay you for
Under
that?
20.
hope.
I think it was more than 10, under 20, somewhere in
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
That T-post step.
It was great.
dude,
I
I
really liked it.
I think
It
when we're
worked for
turkey
my
hunting.
5-year-old even. Like,
Nice.
so, yeah, when we dove hunted, I had my 5-year-old out there, and I think we jumped over maybe 2 fences throughout the, he was hiking in and out. But it was every time we went out, we'd go over this fence and come back, and they're really nice fences we were hunting there.
Yeah.
So, which makes it better because the T-posts are solid, they're straight, everything is lined up well. So when you put that T-post in place, you've got a solid step there. I think that's one of the big things though, is that I think you got to have kind of solid T-posts too.
Yeah.
Like that was what made it better, was that the fences are so nice on that property.
Yeah, if you probably tried to climb one of the ones I put up like around my feeder pin, like it probably wouldn't work too good. You'd probably just be kind of angry, I think.
I only laughed because I saw the picture last night.
Yeah, things kind of fell apart. That's another story for another day. Did not work out well for me. But the TPO step,
Yes.
gimmicky novel product that I think
No.
we give a pass to. I think it
Thumbs
works.
up. I give it a thumbs up.
Another
It's
gimmicky
it's it's
novel
worth the
product.
$12, not worth $100. I'll say
Yeah,
that.
yeah, absolutely. Another gimmicky novel product that I saw, and it was somebody who I'm connected to on Facebook, has a small regional hunting show, generally has a lot of cool content, but this is one of their sponsors. I saw this and I'm just like, dude, Kyle, look at this. This is the worst product since the butt out. And it was a gut daddy. Do you remember that thing?
Yes. Yes.
So,
So
for people who haven't seen this product, just Google gut daddy. And yeah, I am going to make fun of them because they're pitching this to the market like it's a serious deal. So, it's like this cheap plastic, almost like a, I don't know, like a TV tray or a training toilet. I don't know. It's just like this cheap plastic tray with two big like bars that come up from either side and then a chain on each of the bars. And so you lay the deer on its back in this tray, lift its front legs up, and then use the chains to tie it in. And so it's this weird like S&M device for cleaning a deer. And it just like holds it in place, and it's called
yep.
the Gut Daddy.
Yeah.
And I was just trying to think about like, so you have to carry all this stuff with like, so is anybody going to like hike back and carry this in? No, absolutely
No.
not. Where are you going to use this? Like, well, close to your truck or close to hunting camp where I can store this, where I can clean the deer
Why do
on
you
the
need that?
tailgate or hang it up on an actual like gambrel, like with
Yeah.
way better tools.
Exactly. Yes.
It's just,
Everything about it said dumb.
yeah,
Yeah, it like the logic to it didn't make sense. We couldn't figure out a situation where it'd be beneficial. And on top of that, I don't think I'm ever gonna gut a deer again in my life. So
yeah,
that being said, I mean, we so when the last deer that we did in Michigan, we went gutless and we retrieved the heart gutless.
yep. I
We
think
got
not many people do that. I think
inside tenderloins and retrieved the heart like full, like didn't damage it at all.
we just
And
like slipped the rib and just like went in there like Indiana Jones Temple of Doom style and
yeah,
just like ripped it out.
do
Yeah.
do 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 do. Yeah. No,
So
that I'm gonna take credit for that. That was me. Remember,
yeah, like, yeah,
I
right
jammed
there.
something in there. Yep, like cut it open. We were like, hey, perfect. We
There
cut
it
like
is.
right above it, and so it was like reach right down and grabbed it.
Just
Like if we went a
unplug,
little
pull
bit
it out.
lower, we would have stabbed right into it, I think.
Yeah, it worked
So,
out perfect.
or I think we were using shears.
Yeah,
Uh,
like pruning
we
shears,
just yeah pruning shears.
loppers.
We used just to clip the rib cage.
Yep.
We just lopped 4 ribs and pulled the bottom down a little bit and popped the heart out. Which
And I have to think I don't know. Sometimes I'm pretty easygoing dude. Sometimes I'm really judgmental and opinionated. And when I see somebody who's like really pushing some like hokey piece of gear, like I'm judgmental for sure. Like if I see somebody show up, like if there was a new guy on my hunting lease and he unloaded his gear and there was one of those butt out tools, I'm like,
yeah,
oh no. Like
yeah,
I'm judging you right now.
yes. Because well, the other thing is, I feel like those companies aren't making the industry better. They're just taking advantage of newbies that are just trying to load up on gear because they
Yeah.
want to get into it. When I would rather have newbies, if they're gonna go load up on gear and get prepped to start hunting, like on the essentials, like what do you really need,
Yeah.
rather than going out and just being like, oh, I saw this commercial and this is gonna make it easier, or this guy that I, was talking to is trying to push this and I went and bought one, and then come to find out I tried to use it once and everybody was laughing at me because it took me twice as long, and and I was carrying all this gear out there to try to
Yeah. Well, and stuff like
find a
tacks and
deer.
flagging tape are kind of like that. Not entirely, because yeah, they can be helpful and valid, but it's kind of that same idea. I've noticed most of these types of products that it's not entirely predatory, but you're right that it's not making the industry and individual skills better. Most of these sales strategies are all based on honestly laziness. Like, here's a tool that will make something easier, whether it's
Mm,
something that's actually hard or not. Like, I'm selling you a shortcut and you can pay a couple bucks for this magic trick, this little gizmo that solves it
yeah,
for you. And I think the more you get into it, the more you learn that, like, yeah, all those things exist, but if you just learn how to do it a little bit better or improve your techniques,
yeah,
there's a better way without having to haul other gizmos with you. Like,
it's
yeah, they
true.
work, but, and I think
Yeah,
one that we would
get a
both
good
agree on.
knife.
What's that?
Get a good knife.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, get a good knife. One, two, take every chance you can get to break down any type of meat,
Hmm.
anything. Like
Yeah.
even if you like went and bought whole chickens instead of like buying a package of like fully butchered chickens where you just boneless breast,
Yeah.
buy a whole chicken and break it down yourself. And you're just like, well, I just bought a $8 chicken. Who cares if I jack this up? I can still cook it, you know? And like you're getting into muscle and cutting into muscle and things like that. Like you will learn something. Like
Yeah.
the more I break down any type of meat, the better I am at butchering a whitetail or anything else.
Yeah. Dude, that's a really good point. And that's something I don't do as much. I don't really buy a lot of meat in the store anymore. But I think viewing it from a, yeah, everything you're getting has been cut by somebody. You can be the one to cut it and learn something.
Yeah,
And it's, maybe you'll save $1, maybe it's the same price and you'll just get a free, lesson out of it. That's pretty cool.
exactly. I think the lesson's worth more than the say $2 savings or whatever you might get or may not get. Like
Yeah.
go, I get chickens from somebody that I teach with, and because she raises them and she has them butchered and packaged, but I get them packaged, halved or whole, and
Uh-huh.
then I do the rest myself, and so I mean I'm getting quality meat. I've been out to the farm several times. It's a great little hobby farm out there, and but just breaking that meat down is it's like you always are finding new things. You're like using your knife a better way this next time. You're doing this, and like you only get to hunt whitetails for a few months out of the year, and you may get one, two, if you're lucky, three. If you're in Texas, maybe five deer. So, uh, but you can do this year round where you're breaking things down,
Yeah.
whatever it is. It's like, oh, you shot a turkey, or your buddy shot a turkey. Ask him if you can come help break it down. Like anytime somebody's bringing home stuff, you find out somebody down the streets, bringing home a whole hog to do something with. Just go check it out. Like, get in there, talk to them. Like, ask them if you can get your knife in there and do some stuff with it. I mean, it's just, it's getting your knife on the meat that really gives you that experience that you won't need all these gimmicky tools
Yeah.
for any type of deer breakdown if you know what you're doing with your knife.
So next time I get something down, I'm going to give you a call and say, "Hey, Kyle, I got a proposition for you.
Yes.
I'm not even going to charge you, and you're going to get to learn something. You're going to get to
Yes.
cut something up."
Yes.
In fact,
Uh,
I'll only charge you a little bit. We're going to, what is it, the Huck Finn or Tom Sawyer? I get them mixed up.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
No, but I
Yes.
think your point's good that, view those things as a learning opportunity. And kind of like we talked about, butchering your own deer meat, your own wild game, you're learning how to cut that up, but you also have an increased appreciation for the meat
Yes.
because you were more involved in the process. Now, you
Oh,
weren't, involved in the whole like growth and harvest of that chicken, but being involved in more steps rather than fewer, I
yeah.
think it means more to you. Would
Yeah,
you agree?
it means a little. It definitely means a little bit more to me, but I think even more important to me is that like I'm gaining my knife skills and my animal breakdown for the next thing that I actually do go and harvest myself.
Yeah.
It's like it's like it's like the practice in between season. It's like, well, I I could just put the knives away for 8 months and then pull them out when dove, deer, and then turkey come around or whatever, or I could be bringing meat home every other week that I can break down, so when I do bring that wild game in the house, then it's you're you're that much more practiced up at it.
Yeah.
It's that fresh, like, hey, I just broke down a chicken or a turkey 2 weeks ago. Like, it's just breaking down a hindquarter of a deer, no big deal.
Yeah. I think that makes a lot of sense. Well, we've kind of talked about public land, private land, told some stories about the the deer situation that I got in. We've talked about gear. We've done a lot of looking back, but I want to take a moment to kind of look forward a little bit. Something that we haven't talked about yet, something I did last year that I was grateful I did, was write down my hunting goals. There's that old saying of, yeah, it's not a goal till you write it down. That if you can actually look at it, check it off, measure it, it makes it more meaningful and something that's more in your head. You look very eager with that pencil. But
I'm ready to write.
And it sounds hokey, but I'm glad I did it because it helped me to kind of stay focused during hunting season. And the way I wrote my goals was in a very, I don't know, maybe it was a cheating sort of way, but it was a very all-encompassing way that I could accomplish. It was things I wanted to accomplish. And some of them I could get one kill that accomplished multiple, like kill a deer with my bow, kill a deer on public land. Well, I happened to combine those. Those were two separate goals of mine, but I got to both check them down with a single shot. So I like doing stuff like that just because it helps me think of the possibilities. I think all deer hunters, we like it because it's this mental chess game. And so I think writing those goals and figuring out ways to accomplish them was pretty cool. So I wanted to take a moment to kind of go through some of mine, and then let's write yours. We're already into season quite a bit, but I think you can always have goals. Like, you don't have to start it before you pull the first shot.
I haven't pulled the first shot, so it's all right.
Well, I mean, so that's assuming that these are all deer goals. I think these are just hunting goals. And to me,
yes,
this starts September 1 because that's the first hunting season. So what do you want to do? Do you want to go through mine first? Do you want to talk about yours? What do you prefer?
Let's go through yours, so then I can listen and learn, and because I like doing that, and then we can chat and hash out. Oh, that's why I got my pencil here, so I can write down my goals.
There we go.
Because when they're written, and I'll put them up on the screen and cross them off as I accomplish them.
So these were some things that I kind of wrote down early this summer. I think it was like into July. I wanted to do a whole podcast about it, or at least write an article about it. Never got around to doing that. I just had it stored as a note in my phone. So I guess now is the podcast about it. And then later on, I'll probably write an article about, what here did I actually fulfill? What did I fail to attempt? What did I attempt but fail to accomplish? So my goals kind of written in season order. So kill a limit of doves. That was a goal of mine last year, and it was a goal of mine again this year. It was one that, I can't necessarily control what the birds are going to do, but just getting a limit, that's always like that. That's at the point where, I hunted, I shot as many as I could that day, mission accomplished. So that's how I like writing it. So fortunately, got that done on the first day I went out, and that was just kind of how it happened to work out. And so some of these goals involve a bit of luck, falling into the right situation. Some of them involve skill. A lot of them are a good combination of the two. So kill a limit of doves, check. Kill multiple pigs. I realized the way I wrote that down is kind of weak. A limit of doves, that's a very
Yep.
specific number. Kill multiple pigs. Well, that just means more than one, right?
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I
Pretty
think
broad, and you've shot multiple, right?
yeah. So
How
I
many
I'm pretty
have
sure
you
I killed two.
retrieved?
Yeah, one I found and drug out of the woods and cooked, and it was delicious. Um, and if anybody here hasn't seen the video of shooting the pig in the head, just go check that out. I called the video. I was very proud of the name, Hog
Yes.
Noggin.
Hog noggin, one of my faves.
So kill multiple pigs. Technically, I've accomplished it, but help me fine tune this goal.
Well, I would, I would say harvest 3 hogs.
Okay.
Does that seem feasible? I mean, 1 down, 2 to go.
Harvest
This is
3
and
hogs.
this is ongoing until next August 31st. 30
Yeah.
days in September, April, June, and November. Yeah, 31 days in August. So you got 2 more to go before August 31st, or before September 1st, I guess.
Okay. I think that's yeah, and with pigs, it's, there's a little bit of grace built in just because there isn't a season to it. You can do it whenever. But
Yeah.
hunting them in July, and it's kind of a rough time to hunt them because it's so
Yes.
thick outside,
I
and they're
would
going to be
say
covered in ticks, and yeah.
get it done in by February, March. But
Yep. So
technically, you have until the end or the start of next season.
yeah. Okay, well, that helps me refine it. I think that's good. So harvest 3 hogs. I've got 1 of 3. My next goal. So something I realized, I've been focused on whitetail a lot the last couple of years. I'm going to continue to be. But I've never punched all my doe tags. And after listening to another podcast with a Texas biologist, they were basically saying, and it's something we've heard a lot, that, hey, the number of tags hunters get, some states view it as they kind of view it from the herd mentality of not everybody's going to punch all these. So we're going to give out a little bit more than we expect to be killed. But in Texas, they still have that same attitude a little bit, but they're like, yeah, the reason we give out that many tags is we want people to kill that many deer. So I've never killed all 3 does. I've never had to punch all 3 doe tags. So kill 3 does in a season. So I didn't specify locations or methods. I don't know if I need to for that. But right now I've got 2 out of 3. So
Yeah. Well, I think it's one of those things that, like, if you accomplish it this year, then you like tag onto it next year, and you're like, kill 2 doe with my bow, and like
1 with spear.
specify more. Yeah, exactly.
No, I'm not Tim Wells. I cannot do that. Do not have those skills.
The
Well,
blow
so
gun.
yeah, dude, he did it. So my next one is weapon specific. So kill at least 2 deer. Don't specify sex, but kill 2 deer with a bow. So technically I have done that.
Check.
Do you think I need to rehash that and add to that? Do you think I need to be more specific? I don't know. I don't want to feel like I'm listing things that I'm like, yeah, I did it, so now I'm done.
No, well, no, because I mean, did you anticipate shooting 2 does in the first 2 times you went out on the feeder, or well, no?
It's why I went
this
out.
is what- this is what I would specify maybe the next time is kill 1 deer with a bow, not on a feeder.
Okay. I've done
What do
it,
you
but
think
not
about
this
that?
year. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, that's
But I'm just saying, like, what if you added? I mean, bow season's almost over, but I'm just saying, like, thinking in the future. What if you said, did it, shot 1 deer without?
okay. Well, so I'm not going to specify doe or buck on here. So kill 2 deer with a bow, check.
Yeah.
Kill a deer not on with a bow. Bow kill not on a feeder. How about that?
Yes, Because I think that that's just as challenging as like trying to specify like a buck or something like that. It's like, well,
Yep.
if one's coming in there, it's like it either is or it isn't on your
Yeah.
feeder at that time and whatever. But if you put yourself in position to see a legal deer in range, not on a feeder,
Yeah.
like that's a challenge.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think that's a really good one. And so I think in general in my hunting, I've killed more deer not on feeders than on feeders, but with these last two, I'm making strides in that other direction pretty quick.
Yeah, yeah. But I
So
mean, you're doing the same thing that my mentality has been since the first time I started deer hunting,
yeah.
is that first and foremost, I am a meat hunter.
Yeah.
And my meat hunter mentality says that if I shoot a deer off of a feeder and it ends up in my freezer and I eat every single bit of it and love it and it's good, healthy food for me, so be it. But
Well,
when I'm looking at goals, I also want to challenge myself to be like, how can I make this even more of an adventure? You know?
yeah.
And so I look at
Yeah.
both sides of that. It's like I will take every deer that's, that's given to me in front of me that's a good, healthy deer and have it end up in my freezer. I'll take it. I don't care if it's on a feeder or not. But the adventure side of me says, but I also want to get out there and think, can I chase one down? Can I set up some mobile stand and, have one walk under me? Like, can I outsmart a deer too?
Yeah.
Because I feel like feeders are like, they're awesome in our terrain and things like that for anybody who wants to put meat in the feeders here. It's great. But then, it's like, I didn't really outsmart it.
Yeah. Yeah. I just played to its weakness that it can't deny. So,
Exactly. Yeah.
well, and I
Certain
think,
areas it can't deny.
yeah. Yeah. Well, and that's where, so writing these goals, there are multiple goals that are now kind of at odds with each other. So previously, my goal was just kill 3 does. Well, the easiest way to do that, look what I did. I went the path of least resistance. I sat up at a feeder, killed 2 out of the 3, right? So now when I have a goal that's kill a deer not at a feeder, well, that makes it harder to accomplish both goals. So it's an interesting little
That's true.
twist, and I like
Yeah,
it.
'cause you can knock your last doe tag out the next time you went out to the lease.
Yeah, I probably could. Now, I've also been kind of picky about those does. I've seen a lot, and I've looked for young ones without fawns. And just because those are, I'm not going to be abandoning a fawn by doing that. I don't think that's necessarily bad, but if I have the choice of one without fawn and one with a fawn, I think the one without the fawn is the better one to go. Especially
Yeah.
down there, they seem to just drop so late.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it seems like resolving so it's not a true paradox, I guess, when my goals are make each other difficult. But it's resolving those fine differences. It's like when you hear people say the devil's in the details, but don't sweat the small stuff. It's like, how do you resolve those things?
Whatever.
And
Yeah.
the more you can take into account the spirit of both of those and still make progress, you're accomplishing something good generally.
Yeah, for sure. Yep.
So kill a deer not on a feeder with the
Well,
bow.
I mean, it's the mentality of like, just because you want to do some epic climb to the top of some epic mountain, does that mean that you're not gonna go for a hike, in the park down the road,
Right.
you know, and enjoy it? It's like, no, this isn't the top of a 14er in Colorado. I hate this trail.
Yeah.
Like, no, you're still gonna walk out in the woods down the road from your house and enjoy the hike in the woods.
Yeah.
So I see that the same as like shooting a deer off a feeder. It's like I'm gonna enjoy the adventure of going and even sitting in a blind sometimes and shooting a deer. My heart gets pumping. I'm still respecting that animal. Like, that's not something that I'm just gonna go in and take lightly just because it's a feeder.
Yeah.
But it's not as epic as me like going and finding a spot and hiking in and doing all that stuff. So um, it doesn't mean that it's not enjoyable and it's not exciting and adventurous. It just means that like, well, I'm hiking down the street and enjoying that so that I can train to go up this 14er over,
Yeah.
next summer or whatever. So it's it's both, they're both good. Just I think one's more exciting than the other most of the time.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. It has more value after the fact, but it doesn't invalidate the other.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
So, another goal that I wrote down early this summer, or not early this summer, but middle of the summer, that sadly will be a big fail: kill a legal elk. Did not do that. Did not
No.
get to draw my bow
Yeah.
when I was in Idaho. I had
Well,
one situation that
what's the closest you got?
my rangefinder said 61, but it was at a pretty steep down angle. So that means actual flight distance probably more like 70, 75. Probably 70. And it was a cow kind of headed towards me. And then I think she saw me. She started getting all spooky and then went down, wind checked me, and blew out of there.
Gotcha.
So it's one that it didn't quite work out. It was could I make a 60-yard shot on an elk? Well, based on all my practice, yeah, I think absolutely. I think that's doable. If my composure and I don't get nervous and I'm not shaking and, all that stuff, I managed to hold it together and do it right. But situationally, it just didn't work out. So that's one that unfortunately not going to get another chance at that again this year. Technically, my tag is still valid for muzzleloader in that same unit, but we'll not have another trip to get up there. And considering on September 16th there was 4 inches of snow, I don't even want to know what it's going to be in a month.
Come on, get in there, man.
It's going to be rough. So kill an elk, unfortunately, fail. Will not be able to clean sweep my goals this year.
Wow.
So next one, kill a mature buck. So that's, I don't want to shoot a buck just to shoot a buck. I want to shoot a buck that's an old buck that not deserves to die, but one that I'm proud to take out, that I'm not killing just to kill. If I'm killing just to kill, well, that's what the 3 does are for. This is one that a buck I'm proud of. And I don't score my deer, so I'm not trying to necessarily say, hey, one bigger than one of these two, but if I see a deer like that again, that's a qualifier. So kill a mature buck. Do you think that I need to specify that more? Do you think that's okay? I don't know. What do you think?
I'm still like a little bit at odds. Well, not at odds, but like skeptical of like people aging deer.
Mm-hmm.
Just I don't know. Like, I guess I'm sure there's people out there who can just like look at a deer and be like, oh yeah, 3.5-year-old, 4.5-year-old, or whatever. But I always hear all this talk on shows and everything of like just these guys just like me who are like, oh yeah, that's only a 2.5, or that's a 3.5, or whatever. And I'm like, well, I mean, like, deer look different and grow different everywhere,
Yeah.
And so like you can tell when one's a real mature buck. Like, we can all tell. I don't know if it's a 4.5 or a 6.5-year-old deer. I know it's an old deer,
Yeah.
But so I don't know how to, when you say specify more, like, I don't know if you want to like put an age range on it or something, because I don't really agree with that.
Yeah.
Because I mean, like, how do you know that? It's like, unless you're some guys who have them on camera like constantly and they can see them growing over the years and stuff. Like, I think that's the most accurate system that they would have it before you kill it and take it into somebody to check their teeth or whatever. But other than that, like, exact age, even the teeth thing isn't exact once
Right.
you get up past like what 4.5 or something like that. So
Well, and I guarantee, like the deer in South Texas where I'm hunting, it's so rocky and sandy. I guarantee you their teeth are going to age way faster than somewhere where it's all just like eating beans.
Exactly. So I don't know. I would say mature buck. Well, I would say in it depends on where you are, but um, I'm not thinking of big rack, but would you think of like wider than the ears type of thing, or
Yeah, I think generally
talking
that's
about
a
even
yeah,
if you're in a county that doesn't have that?
yeah. I think that's so. Let me just add that to that. At least wider than the ears. So, in some places, that's the minimum for it to be illegal deer
Yeah.
in some counties. Like where I was last weekend, I saw like I had an 8 point all lined up that I could have shot him, but he was probably right at the ears, just inside, and not very tall. He was 8. He was probably a 3.5 year old. His body was decent sized, but again, my goal isn't a certain age class. And I found that a lot of people who are really hung up on the age class are people who hunt in places where you're sitting in a box blind or even a tree stand, but you're overlooking a food plot where you're observing deer for a very long time. And so
Yep.
you're studying the deer and you're kind of becoming this like junior biologist
Yeah.
to be a hunter.
Which is, but it's cool. Which I
Yeah,
think is cool.
I think
But
it's
that's
interesting.
such a small percentage of hunters.
It's way different than when you're sitting in a tree stand on public on a trail and it's just like something walks by real quick. Very different mentality.
Yeah. Than somebody who's just watching deer every day,
Yeah.
as many as they want, and they're like, well, I'm gonna pick mine out this year. Just, we'll see when he walks out this year. I'm gonna go out there 10 times, and chances are he'll be out there because he always goes out there.
Yeah.
So, but like that's one of those things, like to each his own. If I had that property and I was doing that, I'd be doing that.
Yeah. No, I would too. I would too. I can't bash it. I'm just saying in terms of I hunt a wide variety of places and they're all really different. So kill a mature buck minimum wider than the ears. I think that works well. So if I do this, 3 does, kill 2 with a bow, kill a deer not on a feeder, kill a mature buck. So they can't all be different deer, right? I'm going to have to double up on some of these goals to accomplish them.
For sure. So like one of your does could be not on the feeder. Your buck could be not on the feeder. And that's part of I mean,
And I'm
your goal
done.
is pretty,
Yeah.
you have four deer.
And so
Okay.
the only way it's going to, if I kill a mature buck or kill a mature, either on a feeder or kill a mature buck with a rifle, then I have to do it with that doe, or it means I got to use that other buck tag. Which if I have
Yeah.
to use that other buck tag, that's when it gets weird because some places that buck tag has to be a spike. That's where Texas county stuff gets weird. There are some
Yeah.
places where you can't kill 2 mature bucks by my definition in the same
In
county.
that same county, yeah.
You have to do it
But,
in different
yeah.
counties.
You could do it anywhere where you can shoot a mature buck in this county and a mature buck in this county.
Yep. So,
So as long as
I-
it's not the same county as your first mature buck,
yeah.
which that's kind of hard. I mean, you have limited
Yeah.
availability there, but
So I think the wild card that's in my pocket that's definitely going to help me out is MLD.
yeah,
The place we're hunting that's MLD. I can accomplish these goals with it. It narrows the tag pressure a little bit.
potentially 7 deer this year.
Potentially, yeah. If I tagged out in every possible way, and that's not one of my goals. Like, could I maybe do it? Like, just kill just to kill? Like, I think I could do it, but that's why I want to write out these goals so I'm not just, I don't know, I'm a little bit more focused. I'm ADD enough. You don't need like ADD and bloodlust probably don't mix.
And your 7th goal is to buy an extra freezer.
Probably. Yeah, Sears is going to be, they're already closing up shop. I'm sure they'll have some deals. Well, so my next goal is a bit of a wilder one that I've done it one time before, but not out of a goal, not something I was working to accomplish. It just happened to work out that way out of a quick moment's desperation. But kill a hog with a handgun. So
You
I
shot a
think,
hog with a handgun before?
yeah, I shot one with an AR. Um, it was my 300 Blackout subsonic when I thought I wanted to be all cool and ninja and just pew, 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 like thinking I was, I don't know, some Navy SEAL walking through the woods killing hogs, and hit it in the head, knocked it down. That little slow 300 bullet didn't make it through. So it got back up and started heading my way, and I had a 9mm and just put a couple in it. So that was more just the way it worked out. So intentionally pursue a hog with just a handgun. What do you think about that one?
I think it's awesome.
So I do have
Can I
that.
walk behind you and film it?
Yeah, come on, let's do it.
I
And if
will.
that hog starts running this way, I'll make you get in front.
I was gonna say I'll probably be packing as well.
Yeah. Now, I've got that 44 Magnum, so that's probably going to be my choice, just because I think that's the one handgun that I could hit a hog with in one shot. It's going to thump it and be done. I think, yeah, you can shoot hogs with 9mm and stuff, but I think you got to put multiple in them. So the 44 is probably what that's going to be. But I'm just going to say a handgun in case it works out being something else. Because I've seen them.
Two out there.
Yeah, put it right in the ear hole. I've finished off pigs and traps that way, but
Same. Well, actually, that's the only hogs that I've ever shot.
just cleaning traps.
Yeah, clean traps. 22.
Yep,
So,
it works. Just got to
It
put it
does.
in the right pot, in the right spot.
Yep.
So my next goal is kind of a revision on one of last year's goals that I failed to accomplish. Last year, I wrote down one of my goals is kill as many coyotes as I kill deer. And I think that's as I was learning a lot about coyotes and kind of solidifying my opinion. I was kind of mixed on like, when should we kill coyotes? When should we not? Is it a good thing to kill them? I have a whole podcast kind of talking through that thought process. Generally, my thought process is, well, if we're putting a lot of pressure on the herbivores, we should match our efforts a bit on the predators. So I realized kill as many as I kill deer is a moving target, and that makes it hard as a goal. Because if I kill one more deer, well, I got to go kill one more coyote, and I definitely don't want to kill less deer and accomplish less of those goals. So I wanted to be specific. So this year I wrote it as kill 3 coyotes. So last year I killed 2. So instead of, potentially I'll be killing, I think I'll kill at least 3 deer this year based on these goals and the amount of season left. And so kill at least 3 coyotes. Thoughts?
yeah, I think that's one that, I mean, I was making a few little notes here, and I think 3 coyotes is a good thing, because that was something that we had talked about just a couple weeks ago, or maybe the other day, about I really want to get out there and try to hit some coyote spots, just because it's just one of those things that I keep watching on YouTube shows and whatnot, and I've killed a coyote before, but it was while I was deer hunting.
Yeah.
So it was end of the morning, 10 o'clock. I'm like, well, deer aren't moving. Coyote comes running up within 10 yards of me, and I froze. He turned around, started trotting away, and I had a chance to pull up and shot him. So that's the only coyote I've ever killed that was not coyote hunting, but
Yeah.
it's very interesting to me. So 3 coyotes sounds awesome. I say the number is high because I've never actually done it, but for you have experience in it, so you have much more knowledge on what that should look like for you anyways.
Well, and if I look at last year, I killed 2 and I missed 1.
Yeah.
So that's part of how I
chance of
arrived at that. So yeah,
and you went out intentionally coyote hunting as well.
Yeah, I did both. So last year I was on a deer hunt, and it's a spot where we've seen a lot of turkeys, and there was a coyote lurking around there. I saw him, and I remembered, oh yeah, he spooked off those turkeys the year before. So I shot him while I was deer hunting, kind of stumbling into that one. But then I did go out with those guys in El Paso. We called them in. We're hunting in the sand dunes, and we're hunting them with shotguns too, which is kind of fast and up close. And I had one experience where one ran like 2-3 yards from me. It was crazy. It was nuts.
That's yeah.
And it was enough that
That's
I was just sitting still, like in this little like creosote bush, just trying not to move. And so I couldn't even get my gun up. It just went right past me, like right on the trail. But kill 3 coyotes, I think, is a reasonable goal. Anything else on here that you think I need to add? Think I need to specify more? I didn't write anything about turkeys. I don't know why. I guess
ask about that. What's the turkey deal?
so.
Like?
I think I just wasn't thinking about turkeys when I wrote this. So one that's been on my goals for the last couple of years that I've failed to accomplish is kill a turkey with a bow. And so I'm tempted to just give up on that, to just pull out a shotgun and go get it done, because I've been effective that way. So what do you think? Should I stick to my guns metaphorically, but not literally, and try to kill a turkey with a bow? Or just kill a turkey, or set some number, try to tag out, what do you think? You know how I hunt turkeys, what I've done, what I've failed to do. What do you think is a reasonable goal for me?
Well, I mean, I would go to say, like, the one mature tom is always a reasonable goal. And when I say that, it's like, I mean, just being able to get a turkey is one thing, and still difficult, depending on where you are and depending on what weekend you get out to hunt.
A lot of truth to that as well.
But if you go out opening weekend, there's a good chance. But if you don't, then who knows? So,
well, and last year I hunted hard, failed to get it done with a bow, and then shot a jake with my shotgun. So I was just wanting to kill something. I had a tag that was burning a hole in my pocket, so it ended up being a jake. I smoked him. But you're right that I kind of cheated on 2 of my goals just to get something down.
Yeah.
So kill a mature tom.
I'd say kill a mature tom.
Do you think the bow bird should be in there as well, or just that's bonus after I kill a mature tom?
I don't know. I mean, when was the last time you killed a mature tom? 2 years ago? 3 years ago?
2 years ago. I got that. Wait. I promise I didn't stage that. I just happen to have it right there. That one.
What year was that?
Not last year, year before.
Okay, the year before. Okay.
Yep. So 17. No, 18.
Yeah.
18. Yeah.
Yep. It was 18. I would say kill a mature tom.
Okay. It's on there.
I don't know about the bow afterwards. To say just kill a turkey with a bow. Because then you could, if you feel the situation's right, you could get both those goals with one shot and kill a mature tom with your bow. Or you could kill a mature tom with shotgun and then just go bow hunting and try to get another tag filled with the bow. So then you can get your second goal. What do you think about that? Having both.
Kill a turkey.
If you shoot a jake with your bow, it's like entering into the bow world of deer hunting. Yeah. You're just like, I just want to shoot a doe or a legal buck because I just, need to get that.
My only concern is what I did last year. I had a big strutting gobbler at 40 yards. And a bow in my hand. And so I didn't get to shoot anything.
Yeah.
And that's the challenge of it, right? Like, so that's
exactly. That's the whole point.
So I think they need to be separate. So kill a mature tom, boom, different bird with a bow. Yeah. That other one can be another tom or a jake.
Yeah, exactly.
But
so you could double up on the mature tom, but
Meaning
First one,
shoot
get
two
out there with
mature.
a
Yeah.
gun. Yeah, get out
So
there with a shotgun first and get a mature bird, and then start bow hunting.
so kill my second turkey with a bow. I
There
don't know
you go.
about second. Yeah,
And
sure.
third, second and third.
And then my fourth.
How many
Dude, did you know you can rifle hunt now?
for turkeys?
Yeah. Yeah. They changed it. And
What
they
kind
didn't make any announcement or anything. So it used to be in the fall you could rifle hunt because turkey season was the exact same as deer season. And so
Yeah.
it's if you saw a turkey in the fall, you could shoot it with a rifle legally.
Okay.
And so the way it was written was you have to use a shotgun except in the fall when it coincides with deer season.
Yeah.
They just changed it so you have to use a shotgun for easterns,
Oh, gotcha.
which I've never seen an eastern in Texas. I
Oh,
think
yeah.
there's some right in the border
Because
from Louisiana, like Nacogdoches, that area.
in eastern Texas.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of places where it's legal to kill an eastern, and I guarantee there's no eastern
Yeah,
turkeys
there's
there.
not. Yeah. But the Rios are strong. Hey,
Yeah.
the Easterns are strong. Not in Texas, but
In general,
man,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
up in the Midwest, they have come back with a vengeance.
Yeah.
I've got friends posting pictures of them in their backyards all over the place in West
Dang.
Michigan,
Dang.
like everywhere, just all over. I'm in there on my parents' property, and yeah,
I've
my
seen them
sister's
down in
property, yeah.
I've seen them probably in Mississippi more than anywhere else, but I've never killed an eastern, only killed Rios.
Yeah.
And then even when I was in South Dakota, I thought I was going to have a shot at a Miriam's, and it ended up being a Rio that somehow was all the way up there. But so after killing a mature tom with a shotgun, kill a second turkey with a bow.
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
And I didn't put anything for exotics or anything else like that on here. I just that's a bonus if I get an opportunity, but not a critical part of my goals and what I'm striving for.
Yeah.
Now, one thing that I think is interesting, both the place we've hunted together, kind of in central Texas, I guess, there's some jackrabbits there. And then in South Texas, there's a lot of jackrabbits. I kind of want to do a jackrabbit hunt. So I don't know if that's, like, if it's 22, I feel pretty confident in that. If I took out my bow with, like, small game heads, that could be interesting too.
That would be very interesting.
But maybe that's just something that's just a for fun thing. I don't tie it into my goals. I don't stress about it. I just, if I get a chance to do it, I do it.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Okay.
But I would have that in mind when you go out to those places to, like, be ready for that.
Yeah.
You know, to not, even though it's not a goal, just to be like, well, if we have an opportunity, I've got this.
That little 22 target pistol is going in my bag. Alrighty.
Yep.
So I feel like I've got a little bit that I can check off and feel good about, but a lot on my plate still. A whole lot on my plate still. So I think that's pretty cool. All right, let's write yours.
All right.
So do we want to go in season order, kind of like we did with mine? Do we want to?
Yeah,
I don't know. Do you have some
let's
things
start
in
with-
mind already?
Let me write my dove goals for the year. Hold on. Limit out on dove. Check.
Check. Well, I think it's, even if it's something you've already accomplished, like, it's still okay to write it down because you can look back and be like, those are things I thought would be cool to accomplish that I actually did. Like,
Yeah, for sure.
even if you cheat a little bit.
Yeah. Every time, and I think this is the ongoing dove goal, is like every time you go out, especially the first time you go out for a dove hunt, it's like your goal is to get a limit that day.
My goal is mostly not to shoot a scissor tail.
That too. No comments.
I think a lot of those dudes have gotten smoked in Texas. But
Nope.
limited doves, got it down.
Yes, limit on dove. I think after that, I mean, since we are where we are, I'm not even gonna write a bow. I shoot a crossbow just so people know that. But I'm not gonna write a bow goal since I don't know if I'm gonna get back out there with the crossbow. So I'm gonna pass on that. But I think my goal really was this year was like get out and actually hunt with it, you
Yeah.
know? And I think I've accomplished that where like next year I can like have the goal of like I'm gonna shoot a deer with this thing, you know? Where this year I would have loved to shoot a deer with it, but like really I need to get out in the woods and like spend time in the woods with the crossbow, like looking for deer, like figuring
What
things
about
out.
this? What if we, so this is where I'm already just like barging straight into your goals and like turning knobs and tweaking things.
Bring it.
Harvest something with a crossbow.
Harvest. Good
Cause,
word, harvest.
Cause you've lugged that thing around in the woods. Yeah, and I don't mean like freaking potatoes and carrots. Like, I mean, if you manage to do that with a crossbow, I guess more power to you. But
Yeah.
mostly meaning we've got realistically 1 weekend left in archery season, and then you're going to put that up and go for
Yep.
your rifle. I know that's what
Yep.
you're going to do.
Yep.
But maybe you can get back out to public and one of those shotgun spots, you could have your crossbow again. Or, you know, even when season starts to cool down, we can go somewhere and chase hogs.
Yeah.
I'll be goofing around with my handgun. You can have a crossbow.
Yeah. There we go.
So
I don't know.
if it was just a
I'll
small
do my
pig,
best with a camera and a crossbow.
there you go.
But yes, I like that. Kill something with a crossbow. I will shoot a rabbit with my crossbow.
It counts. It's
Hey,
it's
that
a
would be hard, actually.
yeah, it's a small jumpy target.
That would not be an easy.
And I think you need
Shot.
one of those like judo points, or you're just gonna blow right through
Yeah.
it.
Get the bird basket shot thing.
Okay, kill something with a
Um,
crossbow.
My whitetail goal, I really, well, I mean, I know I want to kill 2 doe and 1 legal buck. So I've never killed a buck in, well, a, I've
A
never
rack
killed-
buck or what's that?
Not a spike.
Okay, kill a legal rack buck. So if you shoot a 3-point, 2 and 1, that's meat, but it doesn't accomplish your goal.
Yeah, so if I'm somewhere where we can shoot smaller bucks, that doesn't mean I'm not going to take it. It just doesn't hit my...
Oh, you've
doesn't
got
hit
a
my-
different tag for that, so
Exactly.
it works
So,
out.
Yep.
Cool.
So.
So that means this season, you got 3 deer to kill.
Yep. I'm all about that.
That's cool.
I'm making some connections right now. Trying to find some places where I can... I've got one connection where somebody said you can come out and hunt a doe. So I'm hoping that's a doe spot. And then we've got another spot where we hunt.
Yep.
And the last 4 years now, I've taken at least 1 deer off of that property.
Yeah, it's been pretty steady for you.
Yes, gotten something. So I got to find a way to get a nice buck somewhere because
There you go.
I think I can get the doe.
Well,
think
I
I get
remember when we hunted in Michigan, you managed to punch. You had a buck tag and a doe tag, and you managed to cleverly ruse your way through it and shoot 2 male deer and still
Yes.
accomplish it. Because if it's
That-
less than 3 inches, it still counts as an antlerless deer.
Yep.
And you sat glassing that deer all night long to make sure that those were 2-inch horns.
Yep.
But more
I've-
power
I've-
to you.
Pretty much climbed down with my tape measure, stuck it on top of his head. I was about that far away. But yes, they were a little nubs. So, but yes, so I know the laws and I will abide by every law. but I will
So
also be filling my freezer if possible. I really want to do like been talking to my wife about this. Really want to do an axis hunt, and I'm not sure yet. I think this year I want to do a doe axis
I nearly got one with my truck on Saturday night.
hunt.
Scared the
Yeah,
crap out of me.
yeah.
I
Is that
came around to
going from your stand back to the campsite?
no. I wish there aren't there's access all in that area. I have not seen one on that property. I went back into town after getting set up. I went back into town to get what was it? Batteries and more bags of corn. That
Yeah.
you know how the corn thing turned out. That did not end well. But so I was driving that, and that was the first time I had actually driven that road at night. And I was seeing lots of whitetail on the sides of the road. Then I flew around a corner, and there was an axis doe just standing right there. And it was, by the time I screeched to a halt, she was about 20 feet in front of me.
Yeah. Well,
But
I
I
mean,
think an axis doe hunt, especially because the seasonality to it, there's a lot of people who get fired up about deer season right now. But then if you go start asking people about axis in like March,
yeah.
February, March, when people aren't really thinking about deer hunting,
Spring hunt.
yeah,
Spring hunt.
yeah, I think it's awesome. They're super jumpy. So
Oh
is
yeah.
that a rifle hunt? Is there any specifics to that? Rifle?
Rifle hunt.
Yeah,
I'm gonna kind of ease my way into it. I want to kind of. I've never I've never experienced one of those species. Like I've
yeah,
never seen one besides probably seen them at the zoo. You
yeah,
know. So and there's several ranches around here that have them. So it's one of those things that like I want to get out there and by just signing up for go do a doe hunt, lower cost, which is good.
yeah.
Um,
A little
I can get
less
out there.
meat, but not that much.
Yeah,
I mean, as
it,
much meat as a
it's
whitetail.
it's the exposure that I'm looking forward to. So
Yeah,
like I can go out and be exposed to this, one of these exotic ranches and just kind of see what it's all about without handing over an arm and a leg,
yeah, yeah,
and come home with some meat, some delicious meat. Like if I can go through and do that, fill my freezer a little bit more, come home with more experience, and then if I get fired up about it and I'm like, ooh man, I really want to get out there and do it again and get one of those bucks or whatever, then great. Like I'll save up some money and sign up and do it the next year. So, but I think like easing into it, like I think that for me that's the way to go. Is just start off small
yeah. I
because
think that's
I don't
awesome.
yeah, and I don't like to start off big with stuff like I mean, it would have been awesome to go out my first time ever deer hunting and shoot a giant buck, but think of like what
Yeah,
I'd be looking at now, which I'd still be happy with it, but I'd just be like, well, but that one on the wall back there, like
yeah. It calibrates your
nothing gonna
scales a little
match that.
different.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So if I go out and I do an axis hunt for a doe, then like if I wanted to do something like that again, it's up you just making it's a better and better thing each time and more exciting and now I'm looking for a buck. Now I'm looking for, whatever it is. And so
yeah.
start with just a general experience, kind of figure things out, watch the animals in action, feel them out a little bit. And if I want to go back out for a buck the next year, then I can have a little bit of experience, go out there, kind of know how the animals are moving and things like that, and
From my
not be the
experience,
one
they're
newbie.
they're quite a bit jumpier than whitetail.
Yeah,
Especially, well, I say
same.
especially the bucks, but I was looking at bucks, right? I was only looking at the does for figuring out where the herd was going. I was paying most attention to the bucks, but they've evolved quite a bit differently than whitetail. They're from India, and so they're used to like they have to evade tigers. Like that's kind of in their genetic makeup. So they are pretty twitchy, to say the
Yeah,
least.
I believe it.
So do you have any? So bringing that up, and I don't want to, make your goals harder or put stuff that's not your words into it. But there's a lot of places that will very clearly differentiate high fence versus low fence. Um, is it just to get one done just so you have that experience in your belt, or are there any other qualifiers to that?
Yeah,
Any
that's a
other
good
thoughts?
question. I don't know. I'm glad you asked that because I was even thinking that. It's like
And I bring it up
part of me wants
because,
to be on low fence just
yeah.
because it's more of the experience for me. But the other part of me is like, well, if it ends up being high fence because I'm cheap, then maybe that's what
Well, and I
happens.
bring it up because I
I
kind of
need to
worked through that
manage
same
there.
thing. Like my goal was to kill an axis buck.
Hmm.
And it got to the point where that goal was so much what I wanted to do that I was like, yeah, it would be better to kill it on a low fence place, but I never found that place. I never found a
Exactly.
place where I
Yeah,
could book
that's what I'm saying.
an axis hunt reasonably on a low fence place, but I found a high fence place that I could do it, and so I got it done. So,
I'm not gonna limit myself on that.
okay. Okay. And I
Yeah.
bring that up just because I don't want it to be, I don't know, something weird that you question or think about later. But if you already have it, be like, no, I'm okay with that ahead of time.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think then it helps you feel more accomplished and not question that later.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I, I'll eat. I'll go to a restaurant and eat cow. So that's
that's a
that's
great
an
gauge.
animal that's in a fenced-in area and might be free ranging or whatever in that fenced-in area, and somebody killed it. So I'm fine with that. That doesn't bother me a bit. So,
Well, it looks like also
but
if you accomplish your other goals, you've got kill 4 whitetail and kill an axis doe on here. It looks like you'll be eating a lot less cow too, huh?
yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think of the last time I bought red meat um, at the store, and I'm guessing you're kind of in the same boat.
I
And
bought
you're
bacon today to wrap around doves.
oh,
That's
you
that's
you count bacon as red meat?
no, that's the only time I've bought meat in a long time.
Oh, gotcha.
Dude, I have
I buy a
a
lot of
gallon of
sheep
bone
nowadays
broth from
too,
whitetail.
but you don't buy any like seafood or white meat.
No, I will buy white meat. I mean chicken, right? Is
Yeah, the only white meat. The other no, the other way. No, what's I don't know what to say.
pork's the other white meat. I don't buy
Oh,
pork
gotcha.
either. Yeah, I used to buy
Yeah,
pork. I don't buy pork anymore.
we buy
I'll
bacon. Oh, we will buy like
I said I don't buy pork, and I just said I bought
I need
bacon.
it.
I will buy
Well,
bacon.
I was gonna say you bought pork.
Yeah.
You had your venison turned into sausage, right?
Oh,
How much of
true.
that sausage is pork?
About probably 40%. Yeah. Touche.
So
Touche.
that being said, I did not have my chunk venison turned into sausage, which I want to do. So that's actually another one of my goals
Okay.
is have my ground meat turned into sausage, like take it somewhere because I have not done that yet, and that meat it gets used, but it's not. We don't use it well.
Yeah.
I use a lot of my meat really well. Most of it, it's like we cherish that stuff. It's like, oh, we're having venison tonight. It's a, fancy family dinner, but it's like twice a week since we have a bunch of venison. But those like odds and ends that I end up chopping up or whatever, it's just, it needs to be sausage. It's only a couple pounds from each deer,
Yeah.
maybe 5 pounds from each deer, but it needs to be turned into sausage.
Well, I want to do another podcast just kind of about my processing and how I do some of that. And we've kind of talked about this stuff. But one thing I do, and I start in the field, is I have a trimmings bag. And that trimmings bag is like from the get-go, it's a sausage bag.
Yep.
Just because I don't want to take, like I was one time at the place, I dropped my stuff off at, so it's a German family that has a sausage restaurant, and then they kind of have a side business that's wild game processing that they use their same family recipes, but with wild game sausage. You've had it. I think it's fantastic.
It's delicious.
So I always plan on that, but I've seen people actually like drop off a whole deer and they're like, yeah, sausage. And I'm like, back straps. I'm like, don't do that.
I'll
So
trade you my front quarters for your back straps.
yeah. And
And
so
you
I,
won't know the difference because their sausage is so seasoned
right.
so well.
So kind of like from the get-go, I kind of start a trimmings bag, and so maybe it's multiple deer, maybe it's just one deer, and that's just sausage. So that's as I'm cutting the small corners off of steaks, or I'm picking that meat off the ribs in the field, and I actually need to go there and drop it off tomorrow. That's a sausage bag. So I'm writing this goal is just turn your ground meat into sausage. Now, most of those places, if you grind the meat, they won't take it. Yeah. Just a heads up. You got to bring it like you can bring. Like I bring it in just a Ziploc bag.
Yeah, and they'll take it like that.
Yeah, it just like cut up in almost like not quite cubed, but in just random chunks as I trim it. Basically ready for them to throw right in the grinder, and they appreciate it because it makes it easier. But if I bring them a whole shoulder, they'll charge an extra fee to bone it out. And like you're saying earlier, that's a good time to just practice your knife skills. Yeah, you can sit there, throw on.
Never give them a shoulder. What do you mean? Oh, like a front quarter.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I will. That'll. Yeah. Nope.
So I just show up with a Ziploc bag full of semi-frozen meat, and they're like, "What is this?" I'm just like, "Boneless meat. I want sausage," and it works. But if you grind it yourself, they're like, it's been through somebody else's equipment, blah, blah, blah. They won't take it. So just a heads up.
Okay.
Good
to know.
So ground meat into sausage.
And then definitely shoot a coyote this year. At least one coyote. I mean, if I shoot 12, that'd be amazing.
That'd be pretty good.
My goal is to shoot one. And I haven't done that in a couple of years.
So, I'm guessing...
it's a coyote hunt.
Yeah.
Not just like randomly shoot one. Like, oh, there's one, boom. It's like,
so no, that means...
go out and hunt coyotes.
If you're deer hunting and you see a coyote and you shoot it, that doesn't count.
That does not count.
Okay.
But I will still shoot the coyote.
Yeah.
Depending on the situation.
Dude, I think something that you would have a blast with is trying to shoot them with shotguns.
Oh, for sure.
It's sometimes very frustrating because you got to be in a place where it's a lot more like turkey hunting, where you're like, okay, walk in, set up here, call for 20 minutes. Okay, it didn't work. Go. Like, you got to try a lot of spots. It's more like fishing, where you're like, okay, cast here, cast there. You try it many times, and then eventually it works, and one charges you, and you blast it.
Yeah.
But shoot a coyote on an actual coyote hunt.
Yeah.
Got it written down.
I'm not gonna make a hog one. I don't think I'm gonna seek that out. I will definitely hunt hogs if the opportunity arises, but I'm not gonna put it as a goal.
So there's a funny thing in the way the laws were written around hogs. There's some misconceptions. People say that they changed it so you don't have to have a hunting license to hunt hogs. That's not actually true. You don't have to have a hunting license to kill nuisance pigs. So there are like articles going.
Which ones are not nuisance pigs?
Oh, good question. No, meaning like if you're a farmer or rancher and you catch them tearing up your property.
Yeah.
But if you intentionally like book a hog hunt, like with an outfitter or on a hunting ranch, or
you need to have your hunting license.
You're at your deer lease, yeah. But and they did legalize. Oh, I heard that. No, it's all good. We can, no problem. And they did legalize hunting from aircraft, but that's a very heavily regulated thing. But the way they wrote it was like fixed wing or rotary wing aircraft. And so then some senator, I don't remember who it was, it's probably your guy in Fort Worth, was probably like, but, just trying to get his own law passed. He's like, that means it's illegal to hunt hogs from a hot air balloon. And they're like, I guess so. So they passed a special law, so it is now legal to hunt hogs from a hot air balloon.
Yes.
So long way to say, I think that would be a fantastic goal.
Yep. I think would definitely jump on the hot air balloon hog hunt.
I think you would be the first person in Texas to actually accomplish that. I don't think they passed that law because there's a whole bunch of hot air balloonists lining up.
I mean, look at all them outfitters out there.
What do you
Got their
specialize
balloons.
in? Hot air balloon hunting. You really got to play the wind.
What they call it? Balloon hogging?
Balloon
Balloon
hogging.
hogging?
So no hog goals though. Well, so you kind of
No.
got that kill something with a crossbow. So
Yeah. And
I, th-
I would definitely clear that with a hog if I had the opportunity for sure.
yeah,
I just, man, I've just haven't been in a, like, I've never seen a hog.
really?
Never. I've seen them in traps, and we shot them in traps.
Yeah,
I've seen them on cameras. I have never seen a hog.
I would say,
Well, I was out.
yeah.
They were in the wild. I've never seen one.
Well, and
Never.
it's a misconception. So many people think because they're so plentiful that they're just everywhere and you see them all
See
the
'em
time.
all over. Yeah.
They're more skittish
I've
than
never seen
deer.
one.
They're
Never
like
seen one.
straight up. They're more skittish than deer,
Got a
but
better
they're
nose than
also
deer.
more greedy than deer.
Yeah.
I think every time I've killed one, it's been around a food source.
Yeah.
I've killed them in a wheat field. I've killed them off a feeder. I've killed them hand throwing corn on the ground. I busted some up from the brush and killed them that way. But I've probably killed about 8 hogs, and probably 6 of them have been on a food source. So
Yeah.
I think it kind of depends where and how you're hunting, and if there happens to be hogs there. But
That's true.
okay, so no pig goals for you. What about turkey?
Definitely turkey. I definitely want to get back. No turkeys at all last year, all year. So
It was a tough
I
year. Like we heard
yeah,
them, we just
yeah,
never quite got on it just right.
yeah. I just a big Tom. I'm gonna
Okay.
take down a big Tom. I don't have any aspirations to go with the crossbow or anything yet. It's not. I've had one good year of spring turkey hunting.
Yeah,
Like that's all I have up my sleeve. That's it.
yeah.
Total. One.
Well,
So
and I
for me,
think
it's like
not
I
to
want to
be
get just more experience. Like go out with the shotgun, go through, start, just keep learning.
yeah.
But I think I can shoot a seasoned Tom.
Well, and I
Just
think
doing
not
what
to be the guy
do.
who craps all over crossbows, but I think shooting a deer or shooting a turkey with a crossbow and with a shotgun isn't that different. Like
Oh,
you
come
might as
on.
well just have your shot. But with a vertical bow, there's like the hard part is drawing back and not getting busted.
It's true.
I mean, like if you're a
Very true.
decent shot,
Yeah.
you can put it in the right place. The hard
Yeah.
part is not getting busted. And so I think if you're
I
not
agree with
doing that, like you might as well just have a shotgun and be more effective.
that.
Unless you just like the crossbow and that's your thing, which I get that too. But
I mean, I think it would be exciting to go out and shoot one with a crossbow. I think it is harder. I think it is. Where a shotgun, you're gonna have a spread that's 8 inches wide,
yeah,
and you hit the head and it's dead. With a crossbow, you're shooting, you know, the second third of the turkey. You got to hit it in this shot, this
yeah.
spot. I mean, you got one arrow, and I don't know. I just don't.
Well, no, my
I think
point's not
I
that
think it's more
it's
difficult, but I totally understand how much harder it is with a compound than a crossbow.
well, my point is
Totally
not
get that.
entirely difficulty though. It's methods. So I
Yeah,
think if you're hunting a turkey with a bow, you're hunting them differently than when you hunt them with a shotgun. I think the way you hunt with a crossbow and with a shotgun is
would be
pretty
more
similar.
similar. Gotcha.
Yeah,
I get that.
because like
Makes
hunting them
sense.
with a bow, like you either pretty much have to decoy them or be in a ground blind or both.
Yeah.
Like I don't think there's many people, and people do it, and more power to them. But I don't think there's that many people who just have their back up against a tree and call on a turkey real close and shoot it with a bow.
Yeah,
Like I just don't think that doesn't. I don't think that happens that much.
I
But
agree with that.
kill a mature tom, so shotgun or crossbow, probably shotgun. But
Shotgun.
yeah. So does that mean? So question: if you see a turkey this fall, it does not help you towards your goals, but it is meat, and it is one of your tags. Do you shoot it, or do you
A
pass?
mature Tom.
I guess that's the question, because in the fall you can shoot. You can shoot either. You can shoot.
I could shoot a mature Tom in the fall. Wouldn't that check that off my goal?
Yeah. And I guess that's kind
If
of
it's
what
a
I'm
mature-
asking.
If it's a mature Tom,
Yeah. So if you shoot it at 100 yards with a 270, that still counts.
Yeah, I'd shoot one. Sure.
Okay.
But
And
that doesn't mean
I'm
that I
being
wouldn't
devil's
be-
advocate a little bit. I'm trying to refine this and be picky.
Because that doesn't mean that I wouldn't want to get back out there in the spring and shoot another mature Tom.
Yeah.
But that will check it off my list.
Okay. Cool.
I want feasible goals here.
Yeah.
And
No,
that
I think.
if I did something like that, I don't want to be like, well, it didn't fit this and that stipulation. Like, no,
Yeah.
I got meat in the freezer and a beard on the wall. I'm good to go.
There you go. Well, and if you look at the way you wrote your goals too, if you shoot a mature Tom in the fall, but you still haven't killed anything with your crossbow yet,
There you go.
you still have to accomplish that crossbow goal. And
Shoot
the only
some
season that's left is turkey.
Legal turkey. Yeah.
Yeah.
Shoot a legal turkey in the spring with a crossbow.
So that's what I think is kind of fun about these too, because
Yeah.
they kind of play.
Yeah.
It's almost like the knight can move in certain ways, and the bishop can move in certain ways. You have certain methods that you could accomplish these goals, and you can kind of play them against each other.
Yeah. I got that one by doing this, but it also cleared that off. But now I gotta do this. Yeah.
And so it
Agreed.
looks like one of your other goals is kill a bobcat with a blowgun. Is that right?
I don't know if the bobcat will be in the cards again, but that's not going on my goal list. That was a cool but not pleasurable experience.
Yeah, that was.
I
I think you've told that story on this podcast before.
I did,
Yeah,
I did not
that was
enjoy that, so I won't relive that here.
kill a bobcat, buy new underwear.
Exactly.
2 goals.
That's exactly. Check and check.
Yeah, I've never shot at a bobcat. I've seen them, but it's like every time I've seen them, I've been like, "What was that? Oh, that's a bobcat. Oh, it's gone." Like it's always just been this like fleeting thing. I've
Yeah.
never called one in. I know people do that when they're coyote hunting. Never done that. I've just always like been watching on a trail, and I just see like something sneak right across the road, and be like, "Oh, that was a bobcat or a ghost."
Yeah, pretty much. Ghost cat.
Yeah. So
Wasn't
you've
a
got
ghost to me. It was haunting. I guess it's haunting me, so
yeah.
it's a little bit of a ghost. So,
Well, so you've got, let me rehash your goals. Limited doves, kill something with a crossbow, kill 2 does, kill a legal rack buck. So you got 3 whitetail on your kill list. Kill
Yep.
an axis doe.
mhm.
Get your ground meat processed into sausage. That's more just of a checklist kitchen thing that you'll be thankful that you did.
Yes.
Shoot a coyote on an actual coyote hunt, and kill a mature tom. You
Yes.
got your work cut out for you. I think they're all good. I think you got a lot on there, but I think they're all good.
Well, I'm gonna make these into a poster and hang them in our office so that Paige will know, like, I have to get back out
I
there.
gotta go.
She understands goals.
There
She's
you go.
goal oriented. Like, no, I gotta get back out there and get this done.
And then you can put like little sticky stars when you get them done.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
There you
no,
go.
I'll make one for her too, and then
Yeah.
she'll be all about it. Like, what are your goals? She asked to go on the MLD hunt, and I was like, well, first of all, it's too late for that. I don't know, is it all a men's thing?
I don't think there's any like rule about it. It's not all 4 guys, but
Is it
I have-
only men there?
I have not seen a woman there. It's a lot of big, smelly, hairy dudes who really like deer hunting.
Well, she don't care. But
We're like, well, we fit in.
I was gonna say, It doesn't matter. Uh, but yeah, and then she was asking me about going out to the other place that we hunt a lot.
Yeah.
And I was like, "We can figure it out." I said something about it being cold, and she's like, "What? You don't think I can handle cold?" I was like, "No, I know you can handle cold. I was just saying, last two times we went out in January, it was cold."
Yeah, it was real cold. That
So
hunt in Texas was colder than the Michigan hunt,
yeah.
which you wanted to say something about Michigan. So it
I guess I'll throw in my 2 cents.
it looks
We
like we're just hunting in Texas this year, huh?
Yeah, we hunted Michigan last year over Thanksgiving break and thinking about making it an annual thing 'cause it's my parents' property, and ended up uh my stepdad got so sick of the deer that he got impatient, let someone else come in and do management hunts on his property, which I mean they needed it there, but
Well,
it's
and so
just
when you're saying management, you're not talking about like hunting lease where that's a two and a
oh
half
no
year
no
old
no
deer, so we're gonna pass him for our management plan. You're talking about depredation.
depredation tags, yes, depredation tags, and they had a guy come and they filled out all the paperwork. He went through with it, and I think he ended up killing like 3 or maybe 4 deer, something like that, off depredation tags. But
But it's in like
in
the summer,
turn,
right?
yeah, it was in August, so it has to be before hunting season starts, I believe.
Okay.
And then, um, so he killed 3 or 4 deer, but in turn, uh, they gave him the hunting rights to pretty much all of our spots that we were gonna hunt for the whole season. So we were like, I just kept asking, it's like, so where are we if we come up for Thanksgiving, where are we gonna hunt? And it came down to the strip of trees along the river for everybody. And I was like, never mind.
Yeah.
I will not be coming.
I mean,
We'll see you at
I
Christmas.
killed
That was
one
my comment.
there.
Yeah,
You're
one.
talking more like where I killed that one out of that tree.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
it. That's the only spot that we would be able to hunt
Yeah. Like
consistently.
you could put two people in there with bows or
For sure.
shotguns if you're careful.
Yeah, you'd have to like be
Not
like
three people.
super. No, you have to be
Yeah.
super careful, and
Yeah.
I wouldn't even. It's just you'd be kind of blowing it up by
Yeah.
putting people down there.
Just
So
getting in and out unless you paddle down
yeah.
the river and then well, even that you're probably spooking them off the beds like
So yeah. So we're talking about doing depredation tags next summer again because they're like, well, we still got a ton of deer because they only killed like 4 of them. So and then we don't have to worry about spots really if it's we're gonna do it in like June.
yeah, that seems
And
so weird to me.
we
But
can
I mean,
go up there
it
with the
seems so weird to me
270.
just because I'm not used to it. Just
Yeah,
but it's no
go up
different than
there.
shooting an axis deer in the spring or
Exactly.
shooting pigs in the spring.
Yeah, and it's Michigan, so it's still 50 degrees at night if
That's
you go up
true.
there in June. So, yeah, so they're talking about getting depredation tags. The officer that came out to their property said that they said as soon as you start seeing them eating your crops, you call me. I'll come out. I'll give you your tags, and you
Huh.
just write the names on the list that you want to hunt. And in that situation, you have to have your hunter's ed or hunter's education, but you don't have to have a hunting license.
You just have to have a tag with your name on it.
Yep. So my parents will write your name on the list and give you a tag when you shoot something, and you
That's
just tag
pretty
it.
cool.
Yeah. So
Pretty cool.
no license. You just have to have your hunter ed on you and good to go. So, but they said they'll give him 8 tags at a time. She said
Wow.
she said they told her that you could shoot 8 does and have them come out the week after and be like, "Yep, they're still eating your crops. Here's 8 more."
See, that sounds like a lot to me, but then when I try to like break it down and think about it, it kind of makes sense because if you can't take 8 deer, is it really a case where it's actually like a depredation situation?
Yeah,
Like there,
exactly.
yeah. So,
And
it,
and you've seen the deer on that big field of
oh
property.
yeah,
There's 40, 50, 60 deer out there at a time. They
yeah,
are
goodness,
destroying your crops.
yeah. And
So,
I mean, there were a bunch of deer there even when we were there, and there was nothing in that field.
yeah. There's
It
no
was,
shortage of deer.
yeah,
No shortage. You could shoot 8 deer, and 20 more will walk out 2 days later.
yeah,
As long as the food's there, as long as they're eating that genetically modified crap. I always think it's funny when people say I'm eating my organic deer or whatever when they hunt them like out of Michigan or somewhere in the Midwest. I'm like,
yeah. You're like, that.
yeah.
Hate to break it to you, but Bambi was
You're
raised
too,
on Monsanto.
yeah, your 200-pound buck was not so organic.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah,
So even the ones around here, if they're eating off of a feeder, it's not fully organic, but it's a
yeah,
lot more organic than most.
yeah,
So, and it's
yeah,
about the same as your pasture raised, cow or whatever.
yeah,
You just know where it came from. You're part of the process.
yeah.
So,
Well, and
that's
yeah, the deer itself is technically organic. What it's been like, because it breaks down those proteins and reforms them and stuff. So it's not, the process isn't organic.
all right. Yeah.
I don't know. You probably need somebody smarter than me and more knowledgeable in biology and farming and all that stuff to actually to really clarify what that line is. But either way, I don't have a problem with it.
Nope. Whatever.
Well,
Hopefully we get a chance next year.
yeah.
And they can. My mom said they're gonna probably bump this guy off the property because he's not. Their term was that he didn't shoot enough deer.
It's so funny to like view that management idea from like how we hunt and like
Don't touch the young deer. They gotta get up to a certain age. They gotta do this. Only shoot so many does. Only shoot. The balance has to be just right.
I
It's
intentionally I had a doe with a fawn walk 10 yards from me, and I'm intentionally like, oh, that one gets a pass.
yeah.
So like that's the next generation.
Yeah.
And then a doe without a fawn, like, okay, I'll take that one.
Yeah.
Versus up there, they're just like they
Like,
view them like
well,
mice. They're just like,
yeah. I have
uh-uh.
I have 1,000 acres, and I probably have 300 or 400 deer that are housed on that property.
Golly, that's crazy. It's just mind blowing to me. I mean,
Yeah.
but really, it's like how we view pigs down here.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
just
it's
like
it,
they're
it's very
destructive.
similar.
Get them out.
Yeah. I mean, and you drive down the road there, you can't go a mile without seeing a deer on the side of the road.
Yeah.
They're destroying the vehicles too because there's so many of them. So
It was funny. I was getting back on a bus after the ATA show, and that whole show is just like you walk into like TGI Fridays and everybody looks the same. It's just like there's enough of like the hunter demographic spread across the nation that you don't really notice, but when they're all like in Louisville, Kentucky, you're like beard, ball cap, boot cut jeans, like beard, ball cap, boot cut jeans, like. But we got on a bus afterwards, and there's some guys talking about deer hunting. And it was funny because they were from Michigan or Ohio, and they're talking about some big deer, and they're like, "Yeah, he killed a pig. Like they killed a couple pigs up there." And I'm like, "Oh, that's cool." I'm like, "Yeah, I kill a lot of pigs down in Texas." And they're like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Well, yeah, you can hunt them all year round." And they're like,
yeah.
"What?" I'm like, "You're talking about killing pigs, right?" And they're like, "No, we're talking about killing deer." I'm like, Oh, yeah, I killed those too.
Oh, they're called the big deer pigs.
They were calling, yeah. And I've heard it too. People be like, that one was a toad. I don't know where that started. I think somebody said it on a TV show one time, and people stuck with it. Because a pig, I kind of understand. It's big and fat. Yeah, I kind of get it. Big deer's a pig, but a toad, like that
Maybe
deer's
call
so
it a hawk, just like a hoss or something.
yeah.
Yeah.
Or a
But
donkey.
toad. I've never heard of toad.
I've heard it. It's always to describe like a big buck. Be like, that buck was a toad. Be like, really? Was he all warty and
Yeah.
he pissed when you pick him up?
Squatty. Hides under
Yeah.
rocks. What made it a toad again?
Eating flies. Yeah, I don't know where that one came from, but
I don't know.
I don't know. Us hunters are all full of. Some of our jargon has some interesting stories behind it. Some of it's just complete and utter nonsense, and it all gets blended together in some interesting amalgamation of weird pseudo redneck culture. And redneck culture is in itself a beautiful oxymoron.
Yes, it is. Very culturalized in our redneckness.
Well, we've had a good talk talking about gear, season goals, just some stories from this hunt. We've been on for a while, so I think it's time to start shutting it down. But next time, we will be tuning in, likely from a Northwest Texas deer camp. Hopefully, trying to knock some down.
Hopefully it'll be really late at night because we're cleaning multiple deer.
I like it. I like it a lot. Well, hope you guys enjoyed this one. It's been a fun podcast. Make sure to hit this on favorites if you use Stitcher or an app like that. Subscribe to the YouTube channel just so you can see all the other videos. Check out Instagram if you're into that kind of thing. It's Adventure One Life. But until next time, stay safe, be free, and never